You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech, featuring a weekly roundup of tech news and gossip. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech.
That will be us.
Yes.
The host of Geek Nerd Tech, Joe Braswell, Achilles Shine. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Great week, man.
This is a really great week. Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech once again, the show that breaks down tech news and nerd culture from a black geek perspective.
Yes,
Speaking
sir.
of both of us. Thanks for joining us again. Thank you, all of you, for who've been downloading us on iTunes and checking us out and rating us there. We really appreciate it. If you can continue to do that, that would be helpful to get other people to know about the show and helps us here as well.
Yeah,
so
show us the love.
yeah,
People-
just comment, rate. But if you're already listening to us right now, that means you've downloaded us, and thank you for doing that. You can also check us out on YouTube, on the Black Hollywood Live YouTube site, and also on blackhollywoodlive.com as well. How was your week, man?
It was good, man. It's actually a low-key week, man. A lot of family time. I'm just chilling, man. What about yourself?
Yeah, a lot of work. A lot of work. I started this whole CrossFit thing, so I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I don't like it,
Why would you?
but it's good. It's good for me. Just to kind of have a football hangover, like a Super Bowl. I mean, like a football hangover. It's over.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of a melancholy. It was over for me 3 weeks ago because
Right.
I'm a 49er fan. But there is a sort of a melancholy, sense of.
You don't really have nothing to look forward to on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays.
No, and I push it back every year. I push my basketball viewing back every couple of years. I used to start like, okay, for day one. And I'm like, I'll start in the spring. No. So now it's like I start at Christmas Day,
Right.
and then I push that back. Now I start after the Super Bowl.
Makes
so
sense.
now I push that even back. Now it's like I start the All-Star break. So I don't know, but in 2
I hear
years
you.
I'll be like, I start the playoffs, which is horrible.
I hear
But,
you, man. I feel the same way. Like when football's gone, it's kind of like a void. And so, I mean, to me, you definitely, replace that with something else. For me, it's basketball.
Right.
But I'm basketball, all year. So.
Right. Separately, this is not related to anything, but I do want to ask you: do you watch college basketball? What's your college game like?
My college game is not my, I'm not, a factoid geek like that, but I would say I'm a UCLA guy.
Okay. Shout out to Ryan Hollins.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan. But obviously I watch, March Madness, all that stuff, but I'm not heavy, aside from that time.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot to follow. I mean,
It is.
we're gonna be doing a lot. I think we will be getting into that March Madness stuff from a statistical standpoint, from a nerd and geek and tech standpoint, because that's also one of the most, tweeted and shared and talked about.
Absolutely.
And everyone has a bracket, and like March just comes, everyone kind of gets involved
Yeah,
in March
entrenched.
Madness, entrenched. So I think we'll definitely probably do something here on the show involving that. But in the meantime, we should go back in time a little bit and talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Or your show's a little late, so like last week we talked about the Grammys. A week later, this week we'll talk about
Like,
Super Bowl.
We're always trying to catch up.
I know
right?
we need a time machine. Like we need to be able to just. But I do want to. There are some things we want to talk about with the Super Bowl. Like, let's talk. Well, in order, let's talk about the halftime performance, which people loved. It got sort of rave reviews, which makes me laugh a little bit, because it makes me laugh a little bit because I think about. Everyone's been writing about Bruno Mars, like, it's a star. He's a star now. Who is Bruno Mars? I read something. It's like, you may not know Bruno Mars, but your kids do. I'm like, Bruno Mars is not under the radar.
I mean, he's not on the radar. He's been a star, award winner, platinum recording artist, incredible songwriter, great performer. But to have that audience, 115 million people, eyes and ears
Yes.
listening, watching you,
Yes.
that makes you a superstar.
Yeah, we'll
and
talk-
it's the most in history. It's more than Beyonce. It's more than
Yeah.
Madonna. So
And we'll talk about that too in a second. But specifically, yeah, the halftime show, most watched. But one of the things that it's, every year there's always some sort of mild controversy about the halftime show, whether or not people are, lip syncing or not. And so it just came out. The reason why we're talking about this now is it just came out via social media and everywhere else that the Red Hot Chili Peppers did not play. They didn't play their own instruments.
Yeah, they weren't plugged in.
They weren't plugged in at all, which is kind of, my man was thrashing up. Flea was jumping around a little bit. My man, the new guitar player, it's not John Frusciante, he was thrashing around. It was kind of like, wait a minute, where's the chords?
Yeah, it's completely mime performance.
Yeah,
like they were miming. But I mean, I get it. I get it from a technological perspective. There's so much that goes on into the production of the halftime show that you don't want those mishaps to happen where hey, you have feedback or your mic is not on or something's too loud, the levels aren't right. So I get from a production standpoint. And then as a performer, like you have a vocal performance and then you have a stage performance.
Right.
And
because Kiedis was turned on. Anthony Kiedis sang, like he didn't lip sync, but the track was all track. But they did record it. They did go and record a special track for it, as you always do.
And a lot of artists do that.
They do like a live track, and they'll come and play that. So it's like, that ain't the record, but the Flea, they were really mixed in that. Flea was very they had a hard time coming to that decision because this is not the decision that the Chili Peppers made.
Right.
Because they play. They don't just play anywhere. They play in a garage. They play bands.
Yeah, in fact, prior to this, they vowed to never do a lip singing performance, but because of the accessibility to new audience or just the to build their brand and their legacy, like they had to do it. They couldn't pass up.
Million people.
They can't pass up an opportunity like that.
That's what Flea said. So Flea tweeted it out. I mean, he's like, people were kind of talking about it and doing the whole thing. And Flea tweeted off like, all right, well, look, this happened, and it's not how we want to do it, but we're lifelong football fans. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean,
no person, no artist, I think, would ever pass up that opportunity. If NFL comes to you and says, hey, we want you for the halftime show, but you have to lip sync. Like, we're not doing it.
I ain't doing that shit. Yeah. I mean, so it's good. I mean, look, and the Chili Peppers, they're one of my bands, one of my favorite bands, but like they've been around. I mean, Flea's 51.
Woo.
I mean, they're all in their 50s.
Hey, they doing pretty well for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, like, anyway, so that happened.
Question for you. Do you think that, our man Bruno was actually lip syncing?
Well, I think that Bruno was not lip syncing because I think that he can sing. I don't know that his band was playing. I mean, I've seen them do their thing live, and they do play. The brothers that come out with the horn section, they do their whole thing. I mean, they're coming out like the Commodores or like Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm really dating myself now, but it's like Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Commodore style. But in that environment, there's no way that they're playing live brass instruments, dancing around. Like, again, you think if they had trouble with a three-piece.
Of course.
In a three-piece, we're talking a drum, really a two-piece, the drums are the drums. You're talking about guitar and bass. If they're worried about that, they are certainly worried about a
horn
15
section.
Horn section. So there's no way they were playing live.
But I'm talking about Bruno vocally. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, well, to finish that point, I think the just like the Chili Peppers, I believe that the music tracks were recorded and Bruno sang live.
Okay.
Oh, you disagree?
I think he was in sometimes and he was out sometimes. I think for some of his performance, he was actually going live, and then other parts of it was pre-recorded.
What about the ballad stuff?
I want to say, like, because everything up until the ballad was hyped, like his breath control was immaculate during the ballad, which makes me think that it was pre-recorded. Because as a performer, like, you're going to be out of breath. Just their adrenaline's running, like the crowd, the lights, like you just jumping up and down, and like now you're singing clear, crystal clear. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
So it just means that you're not singing live, but it's cool.
Why you trying to ruin a magic trick for me, bro? Like, why can't you let me think that Bruno Mars is just doing a thing?
Just like Beyonce at the inauguration?
Yes. Like, just why? Or she pull the earpiece out. On that drum. Okay. All right. So moving on. So yeah, but that was we talked about that obviously as a culture moment, but it was really, again, heavily tweeted moment, a heavily watched moment. It went out via Twitter. It got broke via Twitter. I guess the overall point that we're making as this relates to how we discuss things here is that, like, this wouldn't break 10 years ago like this.
Not at all.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, they wouldn't break. But the fact that, like, people were noticing it, and people start tweeting and asking questions and going all over the place to Flea, and he had to immediately address it. Like, that's a sign of the times.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the ratings. Yeah, the ratings. I mean, we see Peyton Manning there with the cameras. I mean, we're talking. This was the most watched Super Bowl, or most watched anything, right?
This is the most watched anything in television history.
That's strong.
Yeah, that's super strong.
Yeah, and again, speaking to what we do, the reason why that is because we are sharing. It's a social media world.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a mobile device world.
Yeah.
That's why, because of the devices, the gadgets, the tablets and the iPhones and Androids. That's why people are sharing and interacting, and that's why. And also, it was streamed on these devices, which is the first time in Super Bowl history too that you could actually watch the Super Bowl on your tablet or watch the Super Bowl on your phone.
Yeah, I give Fox a lot of credit for doing that. I mean, people were really nervous, and these networks are very nervous about giving that content away for free.
Yeah.
They want you to watch the commercials. They're nervous about having you run around with their content,
of course,
even if it's live, especially if it's live, because how do they control? But they figured out a way to just stream the whole broadcast, commercials and all, so you can't really skip. And it was a hit. It was a hit for them.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think the Super Bowl is in a way a de facto holiday.
Right.
Like people go all the way in for the Super Bowl. Like I think I read a statistic saying that in terms of food consumption, it's like the second most right after Thanksgiving. Like people go in for the Super Bowl. Yeah. So like it's a big experience that people build community around. And yeah, the discussion is there. The discussion is there. Face to faces on your mobile devices, just on all your social media platforms. Like, so I think, as technology gets better and improves, like these numbers are going to skyrocket even further.
Yeah.
And like inside knowledge.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was Akamai who delivered everything, right, from the player, to the streaming, everything like that. And one of my close friends, Frank Palladino, he developed the player, and he was very much involved. And Fox, out of all the networks, right? I mean, they've been doing this for a few years test wise. But Fox has always been progressive. They were one of the first networks to advertise on podcasts in general, right?
Yep.
So they've been progressive in that way. So I give them a lot of credit. But yeah, I remember the whole, from last year's CES all the way to here of how the deal negotiations were going down, and is the player going to work? And they had like 40 people on staff that night if anything went wrong to fix it right then and there.
I mean, it had to go seamlessly, because if there were problems, it would be, you see.
Of course.
Wow. Well, that is some good inside dope, Phil. Shout out to Akamai technology, what we use here, which is great. That's really, I didn't know that actually. I didn't know that they did that. And some further numbers there. I mean, we talked about this 111.5 million viewers, which was up from 108 last year. So 3 million viewers, up 3 million viewers. We talked about it being the most watched thing in history.
But 115 for the halftime show, and that's what was pretty cool to me, is that even though you're not like a sports fanatic or you're a big sports geek or whatever, but the Super Bowl draws people from all different social, economic backgrounds, cultural groupings, and I think that's what makes it cool. That I just want to watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, or I want to watch the Super Bowl for the halftime show, or I'm watching the Super Bowl because I'm a Seahawks fan, or whatever. So you have all these different groupings of people collaborating, communicating, and that makes an explosive number in terms of the viewership.
I mean, we talked about this with Ryan. I mean, we consume a lot of television, but live events, whether it's obviously sporting events are great, award shows are great for this as well. Some of these contrived events that they do, like the Sound of Music, whatever, you are watching with your device, with your computer, with your iPad, you're tweeting, you're seeing what else said. But what's great about the Super Bowl is when something happens, when the ball was snapped over Peyton Manning's head, I jumped right to Twitter. I'm like, oh, what's everybody saying about that? Yeah. I'm texting my boys. I'm doing this. I'm like all over the place. So that just it's a whole new world, which is fantastic. And for all one thing is noted is this is networks, broadcast networks love this shit when it happens. They love it because for all the talk of Netflix taking over and Netflix and the new paradigm and
other streaming companies,
it just sort of proves that broadcast. Live broadcast event can still draw only thing that can draw the eyeballs that can command $4 billion for a 30-second spot. So
4 million.
$4 million. I'm sorry, for a 30-second spot, which is why Fox can be like, haha, we're still king. So
man,
I mean, it's an interesting world we're living in. Like Reed Hastings of Netflix is, he's very quick to be like, this is the future is us at Netflix and but it's not. I mean, it has its place and we all love Netflix, but live TV still can't.
Yeah, Netflix will never be able to draw an audience like that.
No.
Never.
No, not
unless they develop the technology where they can stream something live.
Yeah, which is maybe where they will have to go.
Right.
Ultimately. So, we'll see. So also speaking of that, let's let's talk about. That's just a quick Super Bowl story. There was that guy. There's a lot of Super Bowl bets that are floating around. I mean, we saw our guy, my man Money May, that $10 million. Was that real?
No, it wasn't real.
Okay, because I'm late on this one. I just saw that. Like, I saw the picture. I'm like, $10.4 million on Denver. But no, he did that. That didn't happen.
No.
But there's a guy. This is a safety. There's a guy who did bet. A jeweler who bet in Alabama who bet a lot of his customers that if there was a safety, he'll refund the purchases of the day, and he did.
Yeah, he's been using this tactic for a while. He does it. He's done it like 3 or 4 times where he'll say, "Hey, if it rains on a certain day and it rains an inch, then I will refund all the purchases made from this time to this time."
Right.
And he's actually lost, I think, 3 or 4 times. But I mean, he's definitely came true to his bet, and he's giving the customers their money back. But it's done wonders for his business because it's bringing so much attention to his company, and like people are coming into his store and purchasing stuff just because of the attention that it's rendering.
I mean, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, of course, it's a situation where if you can throw all the shit against the wall, like if a puddle splashes my shoe, whatever. You can throw all this garbage out. If there's a safety, and well, he gets caught, but like you said, and it costs him $70,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that $70,000 for every media outlets covering this guy who gave $70,000 back, and local news and local newspapers and blogs that picked it up, and national news picked it up.
It's an investment.
So, yeah,
it's an investment,
and so I'm sure he'll do some more crazy shit.
I like these stats too from the Super Bowl. That 90% of the social buzz came from mobile, which we've kind of already discussed, which is amazing to me. And then you have 25 million tweets, which is record shattering. And then out of 45 of the commercials used hashtags this year,
right?
Which is kind of crazy. So all these things, all these words and ideas are in the lexicon of vernacular of people, and how companies and brands are using them to sell and promote their product. Like it's really a different universe that we are in.
Yeah. So of course, we speaking of which, we'll talk about some of the top the 10 social super moments of the Super Bowl. I mean, the things are kind of floating around. There's some funny things that happen socially because I just want to run them through. CNN put something together talking about some things. Number one was there's this kid, and I have a picture of it. There's this tweet of this kid crying. You see that photo of this kid? Yeah, the heartbreak of him just in tears about, after the Broncos lost. That thing got retweeted and shared, I don't have the stat here, but a lot more. Is the number one, like, shareable social moment. Of course, we're talking about my man Joe Namath's fur coat. Like he wore the throwback coat like he wore old Broadway Joe back in the day. I mean, the fur coat had 2 Twitter feeds of its own.
Yeah.
It had, it spawned a bunch of memes, a bunch of GIFs. So that's that. Obviously, the commercials. People love that '80s commercial, the Radio Shack commercial, all the commercials. Bruno Mars. That halftime show was crazy shareable. JCPenney did that thing where they tweeted out in mittens. So was that them?
Well, yeah, it was them. They didn't tweet out in mittens, but they tweeted out with misspelled words, and then said that we were tweeting with mittens.
Oh, I bought it. I'm like, they have mittens on. That's how gullible I am.
Like it was a strategy. I'm
like, how do they do that with the mittens?
It wasn't literal. Like, hey, we literally made a mistake. Like it was a part of the strategy to do that, so people would be like, hey, why are they misspelling all these words? Like this is stupid. So
it worked. It worked. It was hugely successful. Even on drunk tweeting, hacked, or brilliantly cheap Super Bowl marketing by JCPenney, and it was brilliantly executed, brilliantly done. And I thought they were tweeting some. I don't know. I thought they were doing that. Hillary Clinton tweeted out some stuff, which is great. Another thing that happened, people always talked about, are the cell phones. I mean, like we talk about the shareable at the Super Bowl themselves.
Yeah.
We're talking about whatever it is. 70,000 plus people. Yeah. 70,000 cell phones.
They want to document the experience. The 70,000 selfies is being taken. The 70,000 different angles and perspectives of, hey, I'm at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then there's a big moment where CBS actually aired its Wi-Fi password.
That was
if you
stupid.
Catch that?
Of course, I was stupid.
That was funny. And it was also tweeted out, and obviously do that. That was a good moment. All these things are, and then of course, Yeah, that's it. Oh, and then also like all the actual players who, after losing, took to Twitter, all the players who went to tweet out about to other players and enjoy that experience. It was like, I mean, these are all moments. These are all like crazy moments that happen.
Totally. I mean, I'll just give my takes on the Super Bowl. To me, it was the most boringest Super Bowl I've ever watched. To me, the commercials were flat. I thought, my expectation level, because of technology, because of, what people are able to do with film now, I expected the commercials to be way more engaging, the narratives to be way more dynamic, creativity to be way more infused. Like, to me, it was flat, boring.
Really?
And with all of that said, like, it's still, record shattering.
Well, so nothing stuck out to you?
I mean, like one or two out of 50 plus commercials, one or two was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
We're old on this, but while we're here, like, what did you like? What commercials?
I like the pistachio commercial. I like the Radio Shack one.
Radio Shack was good. And the whole online campaign's good because you can go online and see actually not only behind the scenes stuff, but there's actually, individual, like there's a spot with Alf, there's a spot with Jason. You can go to each of the individual people have their own spot, which is cool.
I was very disappointed in GoDaddy. Usually they drop the sexy joint. That one was horrible to me.
But did you catch Danica Patrick in the muscle suit?
Of course.
A lot of people didn't know that was her. That she got her bikini on,
I just think overall, man, the commercials are just like whatever. Like from I guess the expectation is so high because it's Super Bowl, you're excited, you want everything to be dope, and to me it's just a letdown the whole time. Letdown from the first play. Like what is going on? Like you know what I mean?
I agree. It was very evident to me that there was, and this has been written about too. So I'm not the first guy to comment on this, but there was a giant move towards civility and sentimentality. Like over the years, it was like the last few years, it's been salaciousness and nudity and hot girls and this and that and double entendres. This year they went away from that into more the puppy, the puppy ad, the heartstrings. A lot of the car companies did, whether it's cancer stuff or it's the people coming home from Afghanistan. There's a lot of like sentimentality there, which I guess is it's okay. I didn't see very much creativity. There were some funny ones. The pistachio one was one of them. That was really sort of good. But overall, I do agree. I think it was kind of like a flat.
Yeah, I mean,
creatively.
You thinking you spending $4 million fucking dollars on a commercial? You want that shit to be hot?
Well, it's just people are playing it safe.
Exactly.
I mean, it's you would think that they would take more of a risk to be able to go because obviously they want things to be able to go viral, and have a long tail effect on the internet. But
I did like the Esurance commercial, being that they their commercial ran after the Super Bowl, so they got a huge discount.
Sure.
And then instead of spending $4 million for the commercial, they said, hey, we'll put up the 1.5 that we got for the discount, and we'll create a contest, a social promotion campaign where you hop on Twitter and hashtag this and
Very
do that.
smart.
And now you can win potentially $1.5 million. $5. Like I think that's really cool, and really strategic for that company.
And also a good way to use social media, as well is I really like what U2 did with the Bank of America for their, the
Red campaign.
That was just a brilliant move all across the board. I mean, me and my boy Steve were talking about this as we're watching it. Like everyone can't do that. Like it's really like 5 bands that can do that. You know, U2 who can say we're gonna excuse me, we're gonna release our new single. So they get the singles out there promoted. We're just giving it away, but we're not giving it away. You can download it for free, but everything you download, Bank of America will match and it'll go to our fund. Like that's like on some Oprah shit right there. That was really, really clever, really good. The singles are right. U2's back. I like that a lot. One thing I also want to talk about is in our culture part. Well, there's two more things I want to hit before we move out of the Super Bowl entirely. The first is the Cheerios ad, man. So we last year there was a Cheerios ad, very famous, featured an interracial couple. Yeah. And it was, very subtle, but it featured an interracial couple, and it was not, talked about as it was a big thing. And, it was praised a lot. It was, criticized a lot heavily. So this year they did a sequel to that where they have the daughter and they're expecting a child, and it was just a very sweet commercial. Well, it's been on YouTube. Like YouTube has had to sort of take down the comments, disable the comments because it's gotten just a record number of the vitriol of this. And I gotta say, like, I wish I were surprised. I mean, I wish I weren't. I mean, that's what I'm saying is, I'm a little surprised, even in this day and age, that it was that heavy. And I don't live in a Pollyannic. I'm not like, oh, everything's fine. I don't live like that at all. Obviously, I live in the same world, but
I think it's environmental, though. I think you live in a world where, we're in California.
Yeah.
What about Middle America? What about
course.
these places where it's not as culturally diverse as it is
South.
here? Exactly.
Yeah.
Places that have, more of a history of racism and prejudices. So I think that's where that vitriol, those commentaries, is a lot of that is coming from.
Right.
I think it speaks to the overall idea and feeling of race in this country.
Right.
I will say that, I'm not going to say that because we're on the West Coast, like there's none of that being projected, but like I think I agree with you. You would expect that, hey, we're in a more of a diverse society, but really we're not. We're not.
It's true. I just like the things that the only thing that I always laugh at, which I shouldn't laugh at when I read through these comments, which are always horrible, and I do read them sometimes, is my favorite thing is just the thanks Obama. Like I love this the boomerang back to Obama. Anyway, so that's that. Another thing I want to talk about culturally which is a complete shift, is the other thing that premiered during the Super Bowl were 3 hot movie trailers. Basically, you had Spider-Man 2, you had Transformers 4,
Need for Speed,
and Need for Speed, of course. Forgot about that one. That's kind of, and then which is a video game, obviously, which is Aaron Paul's situation, and then you had Captain America.
Yeah.
So I mean, of those, did any of those get you raise an eyebrow?
Of course, those are dope. All of those.
All of
dope.
those.
All
Okay.
of them. Yeah.
Transformers, you in on that one?
I'm in on all of them. Signed
Really?
up. Yeah.
Okay.
Signed up.
Man, I don't know.
I mean, Mark Wahlberg, man, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Mark.
I don't know.
I am.
The Dinobots are in there. What do you call those?
Right.
I can't remember my name. Grimlock. Oh, I gotta go Grimlock. Yeah, I think Grimlock's one of the guys are bringing back on that. And Spider-Man, I'm in and out on that. I go in and I'm like, yeah, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of back out.
Really?
It's
Spider-Man?
It's looking. I don't know. I'm concerned. Looks like it's a lot. It's like a comic book gumbo. A lot of Jamie Foxx, and then you got the Rhino, and then you got the Green Goblin, and you got another story to tell. Like, how much story are you gonna tell?
Man, I think we're gonna be impressed. I bet money it'll be a supreme killer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, last but not least, you have Captain America.
Yeah.
Which looks good. Get a better look at the Falcon. Better look at my man Anthony Mackie, being the first black superhero really on screen like that. So good. I mean, I'm really, really excited about that movie. I hope it lives up to what I think it's going to be.
Summer will be hot, man.
All right. And some of those are spring. We're talking
you're
about
right. Spring,
that.
summer.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get out of the Super Bowl entirely. Let's just move away from that, and let's get into some news. Facebook is just 10 years old.
Man,
it happened.
It's quick.
Like 10 years of Facebook.
Wow.
And so there's been a lot of think pieces and a lot on the internet about what this means and what's happening and where they've gone. And we can talk a little bit about that as well. But I wanted to know from you, you're a tech guy, you've been on this all the time. How do you feel, Akili, Facebook has changed? What's your personal Facebook usage, and how did it ramp up? Where are you now, and has it flattened for you? Are you down? Where are you at with Facebook personally?
I would say personally, see, I was out of college when Facebook originated, so I didn't really get to experience it in that era. So my first utilization.
So was I, brother.
My first utilization of Facebook was actually through a music group that I was in called Encore, and we used it as a way to.
I heard they're pretty good. They were good.
Yeah, they were all right. We used it as a way to promote ourselves. If we had a show, if we had music, photos, or whatever, status updates. And so I was able to build, a significant amount of followers through Facebook through my brand Encore, and then post music, post my group. I just been using it just like a regular person. Post stuff, status updates, share articles, check out, what my friends and families are doing. So, I mean, I use it just as much as I use Instagram or Twitter.
Okay, so you're on it.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
it's an active part of your life.
Oh, definitely. I'll check it every day. Yeah. I check it multiple times a day.
Right.
Yeah.
And then are you using, so all the changes, it's gone a long way from being just a way to be able to keep up with friends in college specifically, and it's grown into a lot more than that, and they still have plans for it to grow into even more things, with while they're tweaking the news feed and what they want. And now they've done the mobile side, and they're very successful in doing the ads, the mobile ads, which has been a big, huge hit for them.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
they've made
cracked that.
$8 billion this year. And most of it came from mobile advertising. And out of that $8 billion, I believe $1.5 billion was actually profit.
Wow.
So they're stacking up. I mean, to think that they've made $135 billion in revenue, like in 10 years. Yeah. $135 billion.
That's mind-boggling, especially if you given the. That blows my mind, given the fact that like this is a free service.
Yeah.
So I mean, to be able to have, it just shows you the power of being able to have all these users. But it is free. But then a lot of the think pieces that are coming up on the internet is like how much Facebook is entrenched in all of our lives.
Right.
Like there's all kinds of people who like just for a laugh, I'm going to try to get off of Facebook and see what happens, and they find that it's really difficult to do.
I'm addicted to my social media.
Well, no, it's not just plain on like I want to check my status updates or check what's going on in my news feed. It's literally everything that you do these days. You sign up through Facebook.
Yeah.
Like so all of your most of your apps and most of the things that you do. I don't, but most people are through Facebook now. So if you try to disconnect with Facebook, there's a domino effect that it has in your life.
Sort of.
Okay,
you can still connect with your email address for most of these apps. So it's not like it's the only way that you can interface with apps. And
no, it's not the only way. But what I'm saying is, most of these apps now give you a choice.
Right.
Would you like to sign up via email or via Facebook?
Exactly.
I always do via email. Most people always do via Facebook. So if you have all these things and they're all done via Facebook, when you try to quit Facebook, there's a domino effect.
I hear what you're saying.
That's kind of like I don't do that for that reason,
right?
Because I don't want to have my whole life run through Facebook,
right?
Which is exactly what Mark Zuckerberg wants. But I don't want that. But
I think it's just interesting that we come to a point like, well, I'll say it like this, like 10, 15 years ago, when you would get on the internet, you were worried about covering up your identity, or you didn't want to have that much of your information on the web, or like you wanted security. Versus now, like we come to a space where you're sharing your life. You have your public identity, you have your private identity, and now you have an online identity. I think that's really because of Facebook that we have an online personality that we wouldn't have had 10 years ago.
Right. I agree. One of the most mind-boggling stats with Facebook for me is, we talk about exponential growth. Mm-hmm. Like they're the poster children of exponential growth when it comes to user. They literally have almost doubled their users every single year for the last 10 years, which is. That's mind-boggling. From in 2004 they're at 1 million. I'm going to just run this down because it's incredible. 2004 1 million, 2005 6 million, 2006 12 million, 2007 58, then 145 million, then 360 million, then 608 million, then 845 million. In 2012 they were at 1 billion, and now they're not quite at 2 billion. They're at 1.2 billion, which is not a doubling from 2012 2013. But it's hard to double 1 billion. Once you get to the billion, it's not going to be like 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. Yeah. To go from 1 billion to 1.2 billion in a year is amazing.
Whether they're a fifth or sixth of the world.
Yeah,
a fifth or the sixth of the world is on Facebook.
Yeah, these stats are mind-boggling, and to see these early photos of Mark Zuckerberg in his whack-ass Adidas flip-flops, as a young guy, in his early 20s.
Yeah,
it's remarkable. So
I think it's just dope, like the innovations, like. Because of Facebook, we have status updates. Because of Facebook, we have words like friending added to the lexicon. Because of Facebook, we have the like button.
Of course.
We're sharing photos. We have the wall. We have the news feed. Like all these, mechanical things that, provide a convenience for us because of Facebook.
Sure.
I think it's amazing, like just the evolution of the company and what they've been able to do with their growth in 10 years, in a decade. Like Mark he's still was he under 30 still?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like imagine what he'll be, what his brand will be when he's 40. I think that's I think the potential for him is endless.
Yeah, it is. Last thing, I'm still like, I don't share your enthusiasm with Facebook. I'm still just very, I don't know. I don't like leery. I don't say suspicious.
1 billion people are on Facebook.
No, good. I mean, I'm one of them. We're all of it. But it's just this. I get worried about the sort of like too big brother, all encompassing, like all knowing, all seeing, everyone sharing all through Facebook, who owns everything, like all the stuff that people have been like sort of, warning us about with Facebook, or especially in the last 5 years, especially. I mean, the first 5 years I was like, hey, this is great. The last 5 years, like, wait a minute, Facebook owns a lot of shit, owns a lot of your personal shit. Now I'm pretty concerned. I'm just concerned about, what the next 10 years for Facebook looks like for me. I don't know. It concerns me more than excites me. I don't know.
Well, I share those sentiments. I think personally, like, it doesn't affect me because I'm not that open on Facebook. I'm not sharing everything on Facebook. I'm very selective and strategic of when I make a post or when I, do something. So, like, I'm not, spilling my life onto the internet like that. So, but for those that are, like, I definitely agree with that because, you're having this company that has, especially, dealing with the NSA stuff, with government being able to look into your emails and your instant messages, your photos, your calendars, and who knows what else, like, to be able to see all your information, like, on there, like, that's dangerous. That's concerning. That's alarming.
It's very. I'm alarmed. I mean, we'll see. I don't want to be Mr. Doom and Gloom, but we'll see how the next 10 looks like. But happy birthday, Facebook.
Let me ask you this. Yes. So why do you think that people are so engaged with Facebook? And now we're just not talking about teenagers. We're talking about 50 and up. We're talking about the whole spectrum of people. Why are people interested and entrenched with Facebook? Why do you think like this social phenomenon?
It's two things. It's two things. People, people want to share. So be able to like, people have that like, look at me, I can share. So there's that piece, and it's also the voyeuristic piece of like, I want to know what you're doing, and I want to know what they're doing. People could just sit around and just obviously go through all their friends, all their pictures, all the whatever. You can stalk someone, you can all that stuff you do on Facebook if you're allowed. People love that. It's the same thing. It's the same reason why TRL was very successful for MTV back in the day. The main thing about TRL was that it was the first show where kids, like the American Bandstand and Soul Train was standing, but kids got to see themselves on TV. Right. So it was that whole moment of like, I'm Joe, I'm from Montclair, Drake, that whole thing, like that. People love that, and so people love to be able to see themselves or see a version of themselves on TV,
of course,
and share. And now, like, I just liken it to Facebook because people want to be able to share like that version of like, I'm John, I Drake. That's what Facebook is, and what Twitter is, and what a lot of this stuff is socially. But also that you can go and see other people. Right. Before it was like the MySpace days. It was kind of like you were setting up a personal. It was more personalized to like an expression of yourself, right? And then it shifted to music. But now it's just an all-encompassing, like I can just share everything and anything, and I can see everything and anything. And that's the thing. And so as long as that is the case, I don't think that. I mean, this is we're talking about a major cultural shift in people that will cause them to not want to do that. Right. So as long as people want to do that, as long as there are 1.2 billion people who want to do that, then Facebook doesn't have to charge them a dime. They can just have all those people doing all that stuff and then just throw some ads in the pool. Watch this.
And that's the thing.
Watch that 1.2 billion people.
That's my lead up question to you. Like, so, and I think that's going to be a challenge for Facebook to, they have the adults now. They have the adults buying power. In fact, most of the ads are, catered to adults. But how does Facebook keep the younger generation? How does Facebook keep the teenagers that will one day grow into adults, who will one day be that next buying power? And I think that will be, what we see, I guess, whatever tools or mechanics that Facebook does to keep that, demographic entrenched into Facebook. Well, I want to ask you, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just think that like it's going to be the stuff they're already ahead of that. So what they've already done things like, like on the low. The hottest thing coming up now that was going to take down Facebook was Instagram. Guess what? We bought it. So, and a lot of people don't know that, but Facebook owns Instagram. So, everyone's like, Facebook sucks, Instagram's great. Mark Zuckerberg's like, ha 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 ha. So, and he tried to buy Snapchat. So it's like, I think that the way they're going to be able to do that is not through the Facebook brand as we know it. I think the Facebook brand will be
adults.
It'll be Facebook. And then for kids, they'll be able to, whatever the hot new thing coming up is, the Snapchats of the world, the Instagrams of the world, they will take that and then take those properties and then develop within those properties, like Instagram, for instance. You buy Instagram, then you develop within that property itself. Then you can, make Instagram direct and try to compete with Snapchat. You can do all these different things within those different properties. And I think that's where it comes from. And the last thing they're going to do is ultimately, as they all are, they're going to get into the content game. They're going to get into either creating their own content and say, hey, Facebook made this.
Right.
Facebook made this television show. Here, 1.2 billion users. Check this out.
Right.
Like this, we just made it. And hey, advertisers, I'm going to show this to my 1.2 billion users. Give me some money for that. Like that's kind of their next move, is to be able to get into the content business.
Yeah.
If Facebook can successfully figure that out, crack that content side, which is probably their next 10 years, among other things. Basically, all Facebook needs to do is figure out how to get more users.
Right.
And sell them shit.
That's right.
That's all they got to do.
Could I tell you their initiative right now?
Yes.
So I think it was Selena Gomez. She did like a press tour on Facebook. So she went on Entertainment Weekly's Facebook page and answered questions. She went on let's say USA Today, People, 17, whatever, right?
Right.
And she was answering fan questions on these various platforms on Facebook.
That's great.
And so now they're starting to kind of do that more, and so that's their immediate push.
Right.
But I agree with you guys in terms of the long term as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. I agree. That's a perfect example of how they can engage. So if you get the Selena Gomez's of the world, or the God forbid the Justin Bieber's of the world, or whoever it is, and put them in a situation where you're forcing all of their fans to interact with them through Facebook.
Yep.
Then that's how you keep them.
Indeed.
That's a smart move. There's your answer right there from Phil Stevak.
When were you born on Facebook?
Huh?
When were you born on Facebook?
I was a late Facebook adopter. Actually, I think I was probably like a 2000. I don't know. That's a good question. I gotta look it up.
Gotcha.
I'm probably like a 2006. I'm 2007.
Okay.
Maybe later, maybe 2008.
Gotcha.
Somewhere, and I was late.
Have you checked out the video, your personalized video?
No.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean?
So because of the Facebook 10-year anniversary, whatever,
I'm already afraid of this.
You're able to they compiled a video of pretty much like your photos and your. Oh, okay, you haven't watched it. Well, that's fine. I haven't watched mine either yet, but
they've done that.
Yeah, every person.
As a gift to you,
exactly. As a gift to you,
everything you shared with us this last year, highlights of your life that we own.
Yeah.
Here you. This is your life via Facebook. 1.2 billion people.
Indeed.
That terrifies me. I gotta go. I don't want to see that. Oh my god.
For sure.
That's terrifying. All right. Well, let's move on. Wait, Phil. When did you jump on Facebook?
2007, 2006, late 2006, I'd say.
Okay. That's fair enough. I guess in terms of the mainstream culture, that was probably still early.
Yeah.
Right. If you're on Facebook 2006, 2007, you're still kind of way ahead of the curve. Yeah. As we knock on 2014 right now, it's
right.
Okay. Well, in other tech news, Microsoft is a big shift at Microsoft. They've got a new chief. My man, Satya.
No, Satya.
No, Satya. No, the Pootie Tang didn't.
Gotta say it right, bruh.
Satya. Satya.
So you fucking it up even more now.
What's his name?
Satya.
No, no Satya.
All right.
Satya. Satya?
Right. It's whatever, man.
All right, we butchered the poor man's name. Satya Nadella is the new the new big fish over at Microsoft, and engineering background. Gates sort of moves. He's been in and out, and he's been out for a while, but he's kind of moved into this sort of advisor role. He's moving into the Steve Jobs role.
Yeah,
he recognizes that, and stockholders recognize that. I mean, he is the face of the company, so it's not, you can't have Microsoft and Steve Jobs and Steve Jobs. You can't Microsoft and Bill Gates is off running foundations in Africa and shit. Like,
although that is his focus, he really wants to do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
that's well known. Yeah. But I think that people want to feel like that.
Of course, he's still a part of the brand.
That he's got his hands on the brand, even if he's not running day-to-day operations.
Absolutely.
I think some people may say that he's not great at running day-to-day operations, but in some people argue, the late Steve Jobs will argue this too. He's not really great at being a visionary either.
Right.
But someone needs to sort of have the feeling that we're guiding the ship, and so he's there and back and doing that. And I don't know. I mean, I've been very, 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 very critical of Microsoft. Probably forever. I think the last time I was even remotely excited about a Microsoft product was probably like Windows 95.
Man,
so
really?
Yeah, I don't. Actually, Xbox excluded, by the way.
Okay.
I think Xbox killed the game, but like, fantastic job with Xbox. And actually, I think as of late, they're really doing a nice push with this operating system and the tablets, and they're kind of like trying to do some hardware stuff, but it's still not there yet.
Yeah.
And we didn't even talk about Zune. We don't have to go there.
Man, that was a train wreck.
That was the super train wreck. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Like, it feels like Apple's market share is still strong, but the feeling is they can't hold on. I mean, they've got to. Apple's got to do something. They own the consumer electronic business. They have the smartphones and the tablets and the computers they have.
Right.
But they've got to do something more. People are saying they've got to do it Apple TV, and I think they've got to do some other things. They've got to really figure out ways to reinvent what they already do.
Absolutely. I feel. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, but this has made room for. It's only bring this up because Microsoft has been really in the software business, and Apple's in the hardware and software business. So this is there may be some opportunities here. And Microsoft, every time Microsoft tries to get into the hardware business, with the exception of Xbox, it's a disaster.
Yeah, I think the landscape has changed because if you look at Microsoft as a company, like. I mean, some of their key successes were, developing the operating system. They, developed then, like you said, the software like Word or Excel, and then some of their online services like MSN or Hotmail.
Right.
And so I think because their initial goal was probably to get a computer in every home, a computer in front of every child and every school, and now that the landscape has shifted from just computers to now tablets and mobile devices and now the cloud. Like I think Microsoft is kind of like behind a little bit, and they're catching up. Like because they're like you said, they're not in the space where they're really killing the hardware business, or like where they're really the market share. They're dominating. They're not, and I think that they've always been playing the catch up game as it relates to that. And I think that's why Apple was very successful because they were early adopters of doing that.
Sure. Now, for you as a creative, I mean, I feel like that you, as just being your age and given your creative music and film and video and everything else, like I feel like that you kind of miss the Microsoft. I kind of
not at all.
No, because I feel like I grew up on the old IBM,
me too.
Microsoft business, like dominating it all, and then Apple was kind of like trying to crack it in, like Apple's only for certain types of folks. Now Apple is sort of dominates. I mean, IBM is still in most offices and still doing that. And IBM, and I say IBM, I mean Microsoft machines. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. How did you? Did you ever really use Microsoft aside from Word and those things, those operating systems?
Absolutely. I mean, all my computers were with operating system, exactly, Windows, all of them. I couldn't afford an Apple.
Yeah,
my parents couldn't afford that. So all the way through college, I had Windows.
Right.
So my first Apple was like when I started doing music because I needed a faster machine that I could run iTunes on. Right. I mean, excuse me, I could run Pro Tools on.
Pro Tools, yeah.
So yeah, like I mean, I learned a lot of stuff on Windows. So I've kind of transitioned completely out of it. I mean, man, I still have a few of my old computers in the garage, but yeah, like I don't think I'll ever go back for a tablet, for a mobile device, or anything. Like
I cannot.
I'm Team Apple. I'm Team.
Yeah, I can't conceive of me going back to Microsoft. Even as a diehard Xbox loyalist I am, and even though that they've integrated, all of their operating systems to sort of seamlessly work with Xbox and Xbox One, I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
It does kind of break my heart that I can't really seamlessly get from my from my iPad to my Xbox to my iPhone,
Right.
like some people can do when they're on all their Windows devices.
True.
But I just can't see a day. I don't know what they're going to have to do to get there. So what will it take? What will it take to get for Microsoft to get back in the game or to get back with Apple? I mean, this not to be crude about it, but this is his big chance. I mean, Steve Jobs is dead.
Man, for real.
This is a shot.
And I mean, Apple is, in a way, in terms of sales, is declining. I mean,
Sure.
Post Jobs era is declining.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to say they're in trouble, but they've got to do something.
yeah, they're not in trouble, but they're declining. It's not the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's wide open for them to innovate. It's wide open for them to, come up with something that's more sophisticated or more advanced or creative, and
Right.
we'll see.
We will see. All right. Well, and then so we said a couple more quick things that we have that we. TV everywhere. I do want to hit that. TV everywhere is coming. This is something, the idea of this, that I love. This is one of those things that we as users love the idea of, and content providers and networks and cable companies are going nuts trying to figure out how to, just basically not just give their product away. Like, this is sort of like a game changer. They need to be able to control how and which we watch what we watch and which device we watch it through. Enable for that, because that's their business. They need to have a box in our house. So TV everywhere takes that box out of our house and makes us go everywhere with it. So what are they selling?
Right.
What is the cable provider selling at this point? So it's a real threat to cable providers, the notion of TV everywhere. But Comcast, among other folks are like really trying to close in and really trying to crack the code on this. And I think one of the ways they're doing it is through the whole DVR thing. Like, we have, took a while for cable to embrace DVR and kind of almost put TiVo out of business because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But once they all started facing their crappy, and all of them are crappy interfaces in their DVRs. But most cable companies and providers have DVRs. Most of them now allow you to record 2, 3, 4 shows at a time.
Yep.
So the next move, what they're going to try in certain markets here, and Boston is one of them, is they're going to allow you to basically take what you have recorded on your DVR and then be able to watch that on all your devices.
Cord cutting, like eliminate the cords, eliminate having to plug up something,
Right.
being able to take the content, like you said, wherever you are.
Right.
And I think that it's going to happen.
Now, and for the cable company, it's less scary because it's like, okay, well, it's you still have the box. It's coming to your box. You're recording. We're still providing the service for you. We're just saying you can take it. Go ahead, you can take it out.
Right.
Whatever you want. And this is great. Now, I have zero faith in the ability of some of these cable companies to be able to have the tech that's going to allow you to be able to seamlessly, watch that TV everywhere. I mean, I think Netflix does a really great job of it, but they're not a cable provider. I think AT&T Uverse does a really great job of it. I don't know. I mean, like the Time Warners and the Comcasts of the world, I don't know.
Hey, I had the Time Warner app on my iPad, and I've watched TV, many places with it. It's seamless to me.
All right.
Click of a button, watch whatever I want.
But what about taking your programs that you save and be able to do whatever you want?
So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, I've saved these programs.
Right.
I have access to it on my iPad wherever I am.
That to me is obviously the future, and I think that's, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, that it's a game changer in that it still asks the question, that's all great, but what does that do for advertisers? How do if you're taking your stuff, you're taking your DVR content everywhere you go, and you're fast forwarding through content everywhere you go, how does that work? And I
think there's sponsorship opportunities. Like if I save the program and now I want to watch it on my iPad before the program starts, there's an ad that's being run, or there's an ad that's being run right in the middle or whatever that you can't fast forward.
Well, that's kind of, this is the thing with Comcast. So obviously, it's Comcast is NBC Universal. So one of the things they're really excited about and trying is that, like, even when you go on demand on all these shows, especially all the NBC shows,
right.
you can't fast forward. The fast forward is enabled,
right.
disabled.
Right.
So that's kind of what Comcast is banking on, their ability to be able to say do that, take that same thing. So yeah, you can watch. So if it's Comcast and you want to watch every episode of Grimm, you know, for instance, or every episode of, I don't know, Blacklist or Hannibal, like, you can take all those episodes with you, order them up anytime you want on all your phones, but you have to watch the commercials.
I think it's a fair trade-off. Like,
it's a fair trade-off.
You have access to your favorite content wherever you want to go.
Right.
Hey, you just got to watch an ad. Big deal.
So we'll see. I mean, obviously, you know, Comcast is able to do that because they own, you know, a network, multiple networks actually, with Bravos and everything else. But we'll see if all the others follow suit. Before we get out of here, I do want to touch on, and we just hammered through topics and our hour is almost over, but I do want to hit on something we don't have a graphic for it, but we're talking about this story we both saw that is talking about Google Glass. New York police testing Google Glass, and I think both of us were kind of like, it's one of those stories that you're like, oh, that could be good, then you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, man. I
don't know. So explain to people what this is and what law enforcement would do with Google Glass.
So really quick, New York Police Department, they're testing Google Glass, and they want to see if, you know, wearable computers could be used in law enforcement. So what they're doing is, when they have their foot patrols, the officer will have on the Google Glass, and there's an app called Name Tag, which they're beta testing, which will take a picture of you, Joe, walking in the street, and it will take that photo and try to match it up with any of your social media properties, and to see if you have any warrants or if you are a criminal or whatever. And boom, hey, we located Joe Braswell, going for an arrest.
Right.
That's essentially what they want to use it for, to see if you're a child molester or whatever,
right.
or a murderer or whatever. And so, I mean, for me, that's very, very scary, because like I'm just a random dude, and you're taking photos of me. I don't know what you're doing. I don't even know you're taking photos of me.
I mean, there's not a lot of, like, well, New York has still have a lot of beat cops, so it's very, very rare here in LA you have someone walk in the beat, you know, because it's so, it's long. But in New York, you saw beat cops who will walk blocks and walk the beat. So the notion of two guys walking by and looking at you and being like,
yep,
that's you, get him.
Yep.
That is kind of scary. I mean, I don't know what the legalities and privacy is with that, but I guess if you are a criminal, that's in some real RoboCop territory.
Man,
right there.
super.
That's some real Judge Dredd, RoboCop, Terminate.
I mean, it just makes you feel like, I mean, which we'll probably get into in further weeks down the line, like just your privacy, and just like, because of technology, like you're not really insulated. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all that's broken. Like you don't know who's filming what or taking photos of you whenever. Like it could happen whenever, and like what they're doing with that information. Yeah. Like I'm past all of that. Like I'm good on that. Another thing with the article too with Google Glass is a guy was in a theater, and he had the Google Glass on, and I think someone called the police because they thought he was recording
piracy.
A movie, and he wasn't. But it's like, when can you use the Google Glass? When can't you use it? Like, it's a fine line, because it has it. I mean, and the guy had the Google Glass on his prescription glasses. He had them customized, so it's like,
I mean, as always, the legal curve is way behind the technology curve. I mean, as always, the technology curve, as we see with the internet, the technology curve jumps way out in front, and then it takes a while for the legal curve to even catch up, because laws, you know, they don't write themselves, and it's not a, you know, it's like turning a giant tanker around to get laws to catch up to stuff, which is, you know, gives people a long time to be able to do a lot of, you know, a lot of crazy stuff. But I think that this is an effort. This is why this is an effort for New York police to sort of maybe use this technology, you know, to help law enforcement, as opposed to trying to play catch up. I'm on the fence on this whole thing. I'm not anti-law enforcement. I have a lot of friends that are cops and everything, and I'm not anti, but I am you know, a civil liberties guy and a privacy guy, and I don't know where I sit on this one.
I just see the use of this technology being abused, just as with anything with law enforcement, as it relates to Black people. I think a lot of times we are profiled, and we are, you know, unfairly incarcerated. And I think this technology could, you know, prevent crime, could prevent criminals, but it also could, you know, do the opposite, which is help with profiling. And man, like you're profiling me because
it's really profiling. You can tell greater questions about what beats are they walking and they using this stuff on. Like I only noticed there's only the Marcy Project's the only cops only got Google Glass over they don't have Google Glass over on the Upper East Side over in Park Avenue or whatever. So but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it's always a tool, because it's never about whether or not someone's committing a crime. It's about who are you going to target and incarcerate? Like who are you trying to arrest?
Yeah,
I mean there's people committing crimes all throughout society, especially in New York and Wall Street on down. But who are you targeting exactly?
But see, not just that too. Like you're taking my photo and say I might mess up down the line. You know what I'm saying? Like you already have my photo in your database, but you didn't get permission for that. Like So it's like when you actually get arrested, you get the mugshot. But I'm getting the mugshot, and I'm not even aware of it.
Right, because he looks suspicious. Let me.
Yep, he's in the system now.
He's clean. But let's leave him in there just in case.
For real.
He's clean now, but I don't know. I don't like the way he looked.
Nah.
You got that camouflage shirt on? I don't know. Let's leave him in the system.
Man.
All right. Well, on that very somber, scary note, we will wrap this up. GNT. Thank you very much for listening. We will be back next week with a special show. We'll do a little special Black History Month show next week. We'll get into that. We'll give you some more information on that along the week as it comes out. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us on Geek Nerd Tech. Again, tech news, nerd culture from a Black geek perspective. I'm Joe Braswell. Keely, where can we find you?
You can find me at Keely Shine on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Check me out, folk.
Find me on Instagram at Joe K. Braswell and on Twitter at Joe K. Braswell. That's it. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Boom.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Dario Kristen, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network. If you have questions or comments, tweet us at BHL Online or email us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. For more exclusive content, visit blackhollywoodlive.com. This has been a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.